Hi, my name is Jenny Osbourne. I'm the Chief Executive of Tpas. I just wanted to spend a few moments really today talking about the announcement from the NHF conference last week. Sajid Javid, the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government, announced a new green paper on social housing. He says there needs to be a fundamental rethink of social housing in the country and has promised us a wide-ranging, top-to-bottom review of the key issues facing the social housing sector. So this green paper will look not only at the safety of social housing following the Grenfell fire tower, it will also cover the quality of social homes, to quote, many of which are now starting to show their age. Now, at the risk of sounding a bit like a cliche, of course Tpas welcomes this announcement, but I've got to admit with a little bit of frustration from myself too. But we absolutely welcome anything that focuses a spotlight on social housing. It really is progress indeed from our perspective. Because for the last 2 to 3 years, it's felt that at least we and others have been talking into a vacuum about social housing, the need for more social housing, and particularly that need for social housing tenants to have a meaningful voice in their organisation. Over the past few years, there's been virtually no talk from government, or to be fair, probably the opposition parties until fairly recently, on social housing. And in the sector itself, many have seemed to be focused more on new tenures and on new developments rather than championing a much valued tenure that we already have. I think it's fair to say the focus has been absolutely on home ownership and not on social rent. Now, Tpas have seen many organisations as well who have reduced or completely cut their investment in community and tenant engagement. And others that perhaps, might be fair to say have lost their way or lost their focus in their engagement with their communities and their residents. So given all of that, I don't think Tpas can be content with just any hint of tokenism about this green paper. And we're certainly not just going to be content with a few scraps of new policy. What we want to see is this green paper being really bold. We want to see it deliver the vision, the action, and I think ultimately the hope that so many current and future tenants absolutely need. It needs to finally articulate and then implement once and for all the important role social housing plays for so many tenants and so many communities and for our economy as well. Surely all politicians recognise that now. Much has been done before. There has been loads of research done into social housing and involvement. There's been plenty of consultations, there's been plenty of meetings and round tables. What I hear up and down the country from tenants and communities is that talk has got to translate far more quickly into action and into some kind of change. To be frank, I think the financial, the regulatory, the social and most crucially the business case for tenant engagement has been made many, many times already over the years. Nothing's changed for me. To involve the people that use your services as a proven and sound way to help landlords rethink, reimagine, or just be simply more efficient in the services that they provide to those tenants and residents. How we deliver that tenant engagement and that community engagement can and it will change over the years, but for me the principle has never been in any doubt. Cutting back on engagement, it may save you some bucks in the short term, I agree, but long term it costs so much more in terms of inefficient investment, dissatisfaction, disconnected communities, and yes, ultimately, as we've seen, with people's health and safety. The recent speeches from Sajid Javid and Alok Sharma are really, really positive, and here at Tpas we will continue to do all we can to assist and to respond. But I think the greatest role that Tpas can play now is to ensure that this momentum doesn't dissipate. The ongoing housing crisis coupled with the tragic events at Grenfell, just means we simply cannot let that happen. We've got to make sure that we don't let down all of our communities, a whole generation of people. So come on, UK Housing, there has been so much achieved by so many organisations out there in terms of tenant and community engagement. You've made real long-term investments and commitments to communities. Let's get that evidence out there. Let's respond to the Green Paper, but then let's get on quickly with delivering a social housing policy that this country should be proud of.